Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today, I woke up and I was on my phone, and after that I went on YouTube and I saw a notification and I saw a comment. So I'm gonna put it up on the screen and I'm also gonna read the comment. So a comment, let's just say by Anonymous. I get no matches now that I shaved my head. Before, I was doing quite well on online dating and going on dates at least once a week. I believe you. And then he writes, for as long as I wanted to date. So this guy was able to go on dates weekly for as long as he wanted to, basically, when he had hair. And now that he has no hair, that he shaved his head, he can't do that. I wasn't prepared to make this video, if I'm being honest. I just woke up. I'm not trying to flex the time I woke up. I'm experimenting. That's what I'm doing. I'm experimenting. Right now let me hide my head. There we go. It's 4:25 in the morning. I woke up at 2:40. So quite a while ago. And I was thinking about how to respond to this, but I thought I'd better just make a video on the topic. Dating while not having hair, while losing your hair. So, yes, I believe you. Actually, let me finish and read the entire comment. Okay, so next he writes, it's obviously not just in my head. It's hard to read. It's had a very real, quantifiable effect on my life. I don't know how I'm meant to keep my head up. Blue pill advice like, just focus on yourself, bro, does not help in the slightest. We are social animals. Not experiencing a romantic connection has adverse health consequences for the majority of us, and I'm not an exception. That's the entire comment. One, I really appreciate you leaving that comment, because it takes a lot for someone to write something because they're looking for some community or someone to be able to help or answer this question that they think maybe might know. I'm going to throw up some clips, and I'm not going to put any audio. I'm just going to throw them up. Not because I have to, but because a lot of people may not believe me. And so sometimes seeing something, right, it's like if I were to never show any clips of me training, any clips of anything, of my running, of me cooking, and I just said this stuff, you'd have nothing to go off of. You may not believe me. So I'll throw up some clips of my previous dating life. That's what I'm gonna do. And it should be playing right now. So I'll just leave that in the background, obviously without audio to leave this more confidential. So I'll do that, which I don't know, it shouldn't be that long. Okay, and now I'm gonna reply to this comment. Dating while being bald. Let's break it down one at a time. He's getting less matches now than before. Okay. And it's not in his head. It has a big effect on his life. I do believe that is true, right? Because I would say for 99% of people, you're gonna be less physically attractive, at least subjectively, meaning to most people, if you have a picture of you with hair and without hair, they're probably going to rate you more attractive with hair. But keep in mind, when you had hair, you may have been younger, so youth is often rewarded, right, as seen as more attractive. And so you have to play to what makes someone older also attractive. But let's say no, it was you lost your hair recently, so you're the same age as the other photos of you with hair on dating apps. Okay, I'm also going to give you the benefit of the doubt. A lot of benefit of doubt here. So how do I respond to this? Because I'm not prepared. This is a raw format video, and I will probably cover this topic again. I want to try to give you value, and so you understand, and I want to try to help in some way. Okay, yes, it's gonna affect your dating life. all right, it is true. So instead of maybe helping you, I'm just gonna talk about my experience, all right, and maybe that can help you indirectly. So I guess I should just say I'm gonna make a video probably today or tomorrow, and it's gonna be titled "How Balding Bettered My Life." And in that video, it's gonna have tons of value, a lot of stories, but it's focusing on two main points and two things that I mainly benefited from losing my hair and how it helped me. And I talk about attraction in that video as well. So I already have it written out, and I can't wait to make that video. But this one is just like a quicker video that I want to reply to, even though it probably won't be that quick. It's probably gonna take a while for me to make this video. Let me drink some water. It's important to stay hydrated, even though I'm drinking out of a plastic water bottle. So, my personal experience, how I'm able to go about the fact that you may be seen as less attractive when you don't have any hair. Also, I apologize for the lighting situation in my room. I hope it's okay. I should sit up a little more straight. So, like I said, I was sleeping and I just woke up, haven't done anything, just wanted to reply to this. Okay, so how I went about it. First, I have to be honest, all right? My dating life improved when I got rid of my hair. And now you could say all you want, you have a buzz cut, blah, blah, blah. I have 1 day of hair growth, exactly 24 and a half hours of hair growth on my head. You couldn't call this a buzz cut if I stepped outside. And my hair is darker, it's just genetics, and I have white skin and black hair. So there's always that 5 o'clock shadow, whether the hairs are miniaturizing or not. Eventually, I'll have that like horseshoe pattern look, right? And I can't do anything about that. That's just genetics. Some people, I would consider them luckier. They have a hair color that's closer to their natural skin color. So let's say you might be a white skin and blonde hair, or you may be black skin and black hair. So the hair, you don't see that outline as easily as with me. Naturally, I have white skin and I have black hair, like the complete opposites that you can have. And you're like, well, your skin doesn't look white. I mean, it reverts to white. It's just that a lot of the times I'm unintentionally tanning because I was spending a lot of time outside, at least last summer, and I got pretty much the darkest I ever got in my life. I was like scared at the drastic change from what I went to what I got to. I was like, this is crazy. But anyways, this isn't about that, right? So how did I go about it? How did I go about my dating life? Well, like I said, my dating life got better. I think it just where my priorities were at, right? So there's so much to cover and it's really difficult. I'm going to try my best to cover this just to explain my own situation. I'm in frame. My dating life improved, all right? But when I had hair, that's when I first ever tried at 19. I think I said this before. I was 19 the first time I ever tried to go up to a woman in person. It was like late 19 or 20, right? Like at some point when I was that age, and it was before I had shaved my head or after, because I grew it back, but I don't remember. I'm pretty sure it was before I ever shaved my head. I went up to a woman in person. At 19, I also lost my first like serious, so I guess I was 20. Yeah, I would have been 20 then, to spring when I was like 20. At 19, I lost like the love of my life, or what I thought was the love of my life, and I had hair, right? And so at some point, watching these like dating videos, I got the courage to go and try to talk to a girl in person. So I'm like, okay, the park, I'll go during a nice time, like a Saturday during the sun time, right? Like when it's midday or something. And if I see someone, I'll go up to them. And that just didn't happen, right? So it took me like 2 or 3 days of going to the park and intentionally saying, you're gonna have to just talk to a girl that's around your age, because you got to start somewhere. So I did that, and I got rejected. Right, I got rejected every single time. I think one time I was successful, like once, right? And then fast forward to when I finally shaved my head. I regrew my hair, and then I shaved my head again. And then I did it again, but this time it wasn't me going to parks. It was I started to approach women when I was out and about with my day. Just if was attracted to someone, pretty much, right? So I would go up to someone and I would introduce myself, and it happened a lot more naturally. I wasn't in the park intentionally this time just to meet someone. I was like, right, I was just out and about doing whatever it is I'm doing, whether it was walking my dog or I don't know, like whatever I was doing, grocery shopping, like I was just introducing myself to people and being so and so more social. I was being more social, interacting with more strangers, introducing myself. And I think a couple things here are also to be mentioned, right? I had overcome the fear of being bald. And it wasn't so much that I knew how women would respond to me, because I didn't know, right? I had an idea that it could be okay, but I didn't have that reassurance that it would be okay for me. So what I did, right, is when I went up to women in the beginning stages when I didn't have hair, the confidence came from another point. It came from a point of I accepted it. Like I accepted the fact that there's no hair on my head, and I gave zero fucks about it, right? So it's like this. Let's address the part where you say, just focus on yourself. Just focus on yourself, or the just shave it advice, or just don't care, just give zero fucks advice. This is all hard to break down as far as social media, because that's another thing. Like it's so much to cover in one video. I'm just gonna leave this raw and unedited, and I will upload the video, hopefully, so it's like you could just play it and get some advice. If this video is 13 minutes, it's long. So we're social animals. Just focus on yourself, bro. That's not bad advice, whether you have hair or you don't have hair. Just focus on yourself. That is not bad advice. That's like, just work on yourself. Now, there's a lot to cover. Let's just cover the just focus on yourself. That's because I want to keep jumping around. That's not bad advice. Like you're saying, blue pill guys just say, just work on yourself. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with working on yourself? All right. The reason I got rejected at 19 with all this hair, right? I had all this hair was because I didn't work on myself, right? And I was young and I didn't have this experience. So yes, maybe if I had exposure, girls my same age would have found me attractive. But it's also just because you can get online matches, which we'll cover online in a second. Just because you can get online matches, that doesn't mean that you can retain that girl, that you can continue to keep attraction with that girl, even if you have hair, right? So that's another thing to determine success. What is success for you? I get it. It sounds very stupid for most people. It's like if I'm able to have a dating life, that's success. That means I'm attractive. You get like this validation, right, from the opposite sex, and that's valid. I'm not saying it's not. Also, what I said in my previous video is most people shouldn't go bald. I said this. Most people, right? Like it's like the majority of you guys shouldn't go bald. You should just fight it, because there's enough science. That's what the science says. It's safe. Just fight the hair loss, right? So you don't have to go through, this is hard mentally. This is why I'm going to talk about how it bettered my life. I'm not going to talk about dating in this how it bettered my life. I'm going to talk about other benefits, and this is true. These benefits should be out there. Even though my dating life did get better, that's not how balding bettered my life, and that's because my opinion on dating overall has really drastically changed. All right. This is such a deep topic to cover because it's hard to explain, okay? Because I understand not many guys have experienced an abundance of dating, right? And that abundance is, there's levels to it, right? There's like the entry level, which is me, and then there's like the master level where there's guys who have experienced a stupid amount of abundance, ugly or not ugly. And most of the time, those guys are dating coaches, right? They've specifically wanted to better their dating lives, and so they've worked on it and they got better. But when you do that, when you work on your dating life, you realize working your dating life usually results in you being able to go on more dates. So you're usually going for quantity over quality, right? And you're like, oh, you could just go for quality. Like, that's its own topic for another day. But going back to this, right? Just focus on yourself, bro. That's not bad advice. Like, if you have hair or you don't have hair, you should focus on yourself and like try to improve your life, right? I think that's really important for a lot of reasons, okay? Like, especially for your own self-respect. But I'll give you the benefit of your doubt. I'll say you already went through that period where now you're ready to date. You worked on yourself, like, right? Like, right now, I don't want to go on a date. All right, I know, like, I have, of course, the urge that all of us men have to want to date and be. You say romantically, you're not experiencing a romantic connection. I would argue that a lot of men don't want a romantic connection; they want a sexual connection, and there's a big difference, right? Right? It's like lust and sexual connection. That is not at all. How do I explain it? That is. What I realized from that is that it's meaningless, okay? So if what you meant to say was a sexual connection full of lust, right? You want to go and get women, right? These women who might look the best, right? And who advertise themselves a certain way, who are for a sexual connection, you'll realize that this is very meaningless. It doesn't have a lot of meaning, and you'll only realize that when you're with a woman and you realize that, wow, this woman doesn't give a single flying fuck about me, right? About my character and my personality and who I am. So you said romantic connection. So if that's really true, you want a romantic connection, then that only takes one. That only takes one girl, all right? Just let that sink in. So that means you can get rejected by 100 girls if you don't have hair, right? 100 girls reject you. All it takes is one woman, right? It's like, I'm not saying what you're saying is not true. Like, you're gonna be going on more dates, so statistically, if you had hair, your chances should go up. For me, it's all nothing but positives because I'm a really simple guy. I don't want someone too stuck on superficial things. Like, I want to keep things very real between me and my partner. And real means that there's men that lose their hair. That's something that we go through. And just like I wouldn't want to ask my partner to be on medication for me, I shouldn't have to be on medication just for her. You could say it's for yourself, but why is it like, I really don't believe it's for us, right? Like, it's like, if we're going to take drugs to prevent us from losing hair, we're doing that so we could better our chances in our dating life and attract the opposite sex. But like I said, that wasn't even my experience, all right? So as long as you understand that it's not the experience of every single guy, I think that can be really an eye-opening thing. So it's like, what's the difference between you and me when it comes to, like, what's the difference, right? So I just woke up. So I'm hoping this video is in focus, and I'm hoping that it's not too loud because it's dead quiet right now. I guess I've been up for a couple hours at this point, but it's 4:40. So what's the difference between you and me? Why is it the case that some guys, they seem to be able to attract more women and it comes down to a special like combination, right? I'm not saying that you have to fit into this combination, but there can be differences that you may not see immediately. All right, and this is gonna sound bad, but I'll just mention some things. Yeah, so the first time I experienced an abundance of dating was after shaving my head. And every single date since those couple first videos I made that I've gone on, I shave my head right before going on the date. Like, it's just how I see myself as presentable. So if it's like a first date, right? Obviously, if you meet someone on the street, you have no control. But if it's like an online date or through Instagram or something, right? I will try to present myself how I like to be presented, like a clean look. So that's what I would do. And what I realize is that, of course, I have had women who, so I'll just talk about like all the different dating experience, right? Coming from a guy who doesn't have that hair that you could run your fingers through, right? So I have had women who said I wasn't handsome. Didn't call me ugly, but said that I wasn't handsome. So that's right. That's pretty much saying they don't find you attractive, right? But I've had other women say I'm very good looking. So that's not gonna change if you have hair. I mean, it will change. You can have a mass appeal. I don't know how to explain it. It's like, after this video, I'm just gonna keep writing the other one and like try to perfect my points, because this video is off the top of my head. Just like, I saw the comments first thing in the morning and I want to reply to it to just try to get some of my thoughts about dating out there, just to give you a different perspective if this really does interest you. This video is probably going to be half an hour long, and it's totally fine with me. It's totally fine. So yeah, once I went bald, that's when I experienced an abundance of dating. That's when I started getting rejected less. That's when things went better. And I'm talking about like multicultural. So there's always going to be an excuse, all right? And I'm not saying you're not right. That's why I said the advice, don't go bald. I said don't go bald. Just take medication, because it's a difficult chapter. There's things and benefits that you get, but it's not gonna matter to most people. You're like, damn, like I went from this to this. Reducing yourself is hard for a lot of people. There's benefits of that. There's benefits for that in fitness. That's what I'm doing right now. I was attempting 140-pound pull-ups, right? Attempting. And I think I was doing 130 for two reps. And now I'm back to body weight. And that's because I understand I'm not just gonna start pulling and I'm gonna be struggling at like 90 pounds, which I don't think is true, but I want to be able to get stronger. So I want a stronger foundation before I get into weighted. And I never hit that goal I set for myself, and it haunts me. I set a goal of 15 muscle ups. What was my point? Because I talk so fucking much. What was my point with saying that? I wish I could just like rewind the video in real time, but I don't want to pause it. That it's true in all life, right? Yeah, something like that. It's true no matter what. It applies to not just, I guess, dating. It applies to fitness. That's what I was saying. But what applies to dating? It's obviously not just in my head. Oh, I forgot. Yikes. Oh yeah, I remember now. Going one step backwards to take two steps forward. That's what I was talking about. That is something most people cannot do. They can't go from a high-paying job to a job that pays less. You're like, why the fuck would you do that? Most people aren't gonna understand why you have to take a step backwards to go forwards. You know what I mean? So you had something and now you don't have that something, and you feel, right, you feel that missingness effect, right? You had more matches, that's what you had, now you have less matches, and so you're not seeing like another way out. You're like, you want a romantic connection, and that's fair. Everyone's entitled to a romantic connection, but also just keep in mind, right, dating is hard. It doesn't actually have to be hard. It's the thing that's the most complicated thing out there that doesn't have to be complicated whatsoever. And the funny thing is, I do believe you start off with the highest chance of success. So when you start dating, like the very first girlfriend you had, right? My first girlfriend, we should not have like gotten married or even being girlfriend and boyfriend. But you have a much higher chance then than you do later on. It takes a lot of self-development and growth to, like, as an adult, as you get older into your 20s, into your 30s, to be able to I think to date, yeah, like it's a lot more complicated. It doesn't have to be, I'm not saying it has to be, but it's like, even people who aren't bald, like, I think a lot of people struggle is what I'm trying to say. And you're like, not me, I don't struggle. Like, you know, whether you have hair or you don't have hair. So I didn't see a change. Like, it wasn't a reason for me, because I know, you know, I'm not aware, I'm not oblivious to the reality. If I want to have a mass appeal and I want to be able to get more matches, and let's talk about online dating, because I did do online dating. Now, I haven't done online dating in over a year, right? I have no need for online dating. And I also just, I'm that weird guy that never really agreed too much to the way things are meant to be, okay? So let me break that down real quick. I can't believe this video is jumping all over the point. I'm using examples of examples to make a point. It's like a little crazy. You know, Snapchat came out in, like, I don't know when, all right? I'm just gonna name a random year, like 2011. Like, I was in middle school, right? 2010 or whatever. And I thought it was stupid as hell. It didn't make any sense. Of course, I downloaded it because I didn't have enough, you know, balls to, like, see through the bullshit and not fit in. But I downloaded it, but what I wouldn't do was streaks, because that made absolutely no sense. I'm like, this already makes no sense. But whatever, right? Like, at least you could post stories and see what your friends are doing. That made some sense. But the streaks was, like, immediately, like, a hit. And that stayed a hit for, like, some people didn't let it go for a while. And then, but that's because, okay. When streaks was really popular, like sending a picture and you just needed to get the number up, a number that meant nothing, that would go away within, I don't know how long, or maybe it was permanent. I don't know. I saw through that it made no sense, but yet because everyone else said it made sense to them, but I never played it. It's just like, I'd be getting these images of black lines and then they had that line. I'm like, what's the point of this? It has no point. It didn't have a point, and today people don't do it, I think, unless it's like for a joke. No one is sending streaks to each other. That went away, it died off. There's no reason why it mattered back then, and now it was just a trendy thing. People were doing it because they wanted to see who could get the biggest streak, and that had some type of social credibility to it. And then Twitter, right? Twitter came out, I think, before Snapchat. I found out about it after Snapchat in, like, 2013, and I got Twitter, right? I got Twitter, and immediately I didn't like Twitter. But instead, I decided to use Twitter as a permanent logbook, so I could log into Twitter at any point and see all these notes. And I used it for my climbing or something, or like 2014 or something like that. Like, I got Twitter late, so I wasn't using it the way it was intended to be used. Twitter was supposed to be what you were up to, and I just used it as a personal, like, as a notebook, right? Like, I used it, like, as I would write, okay, this day I got my first V4. Like, no one cared. Like, no one even knew what a V4 was. I was just making it for myself. So I used Twitter for myself. Facebook, I never really used. I did use, but that didn't last too long. Only a couple posts. Then Instagram, immediately when I got Instagram, it was also just climbing. It wasn't anything. It was just for myself. It was like, I'm gonna put my best videos on Instagram of me climbing, the things I'm proud of, and it's gonna be my climbing log. And that's what it was. And then it turned into my climbing and my training log. Everyone else was like posting selfies and everything, and yes, that's important, But it's important because society says it's important. It's important if you want to get online matches. It's important if you want to get like Instagram DMs, to have a profile that's aesthetic and that shows your face. But I didn't want to conform to that reality. And when it comes to dating, online dating, which I don't do anymore, which will I ever do it? I can't say I'll never do it, but I haven't done it in over a year. I haven't downloaded a single app. I don't know how long it's been. I want to say a year and a half. I think. Shit, maybe more. I don't know. It's been a while, right? It's been a while since I had online dating apps, and it's like something people would always do if they go to like a new country. They're immediately download an online dating app if you're in a new country. But that wasn't what I did. So I didn't have that temptation. But when I was on online dating, I also noticed, shaving my head, I had a switch of demographic of people who found me attractive. When I had hair, I was just posting like myself with clothing, right? Like I posted certain pictures of myself in like a sweater or something, and all you could see is my face. I was getting certain type of matches, right? And then when I posted pictures of me, which these pictures were honestly probably worse. They were selfies. I posted selfies of me bald. Yeah, I got different type of matches, and that's just my experience, you know. That was my experience. I got different type of match. They're like, how is it different? And never before had I matched with any black women, and it was a bunch of black women. That's how it was different. And I went on dates with them, you know. I went on dates with them. Well, the ones I found attractive. And here's the thing, right? So there's clearly the fact that I didn't have hair made a difference on my online dating. But I'm gonna be completely honest with you, right? Like, I'm not trying to offend like Tinder or like Bumble or whatever, right? When I had hair and I went on those online dates, those dates sucked. And when I didn't have hair and I went on online dates, those dates also sucked. I'm not saying it doesn't work, because the girl I met at 19 who I wanted to, like, the first heartbreak I had, like the first girl who I wanted to like marry, and you know, the girl I keep talking about when I was 19, I met her on Tinder, right? And her Tinder was very, very different. So of course she was a little different already. And you're like, okay, so clearly you're the problem. You're right. Tinder is not the problem. Hinge isn't the problem. It's you. You're the problem. If all these dates you went on, all your online dating experience was bad. Yeah, I'm being honest. It was bad, because it's bad in comparison. It's not actually bad. It's just bad in comparison to the best dates I ever went on. And the best dates I've ever gone on were all in person. The connection happened in person naturally, right? Or forced, however you want to look at it. All of the online dating never ever compared to any of the dates I went on through in person, all right? And there's a lot of reasons for that. And am I trying to convince you, Mr. Anonymous, to, start talking to people in person? First of all, I don't know what's wrong with talking to people in person. Like, if I'm seen as weird because some people won't even do this. They will never ever go up to a girl, whether they're dared, whether they think she's cute, because they're like, oh, well, she doesn't know me. And it's weird. Why is that weird? Like, that was normal 20 years ago, but now it's weird. There's no reason for it to be weird other than the fact that you think it's weird and society says it's weird. It's not weird to me. And it's like, if it's not weird to you, it won't be weird to them. Well, that's not actually true, but it's a lot more true than it's not true, but it's kind of true. It's like, if you actually have confidence, versus if you're insecure, right? Like, if you're insecure, other people will be able to pick up on your insecurity without you telling them. They'll be able to kind of tell. And this is so important, guys. Like, I really want to help people. I understand I really do understand. I want to help people. I have that burning desire inside of me. Like, I want to actually give advice, and this video is going to be long. It's going to be as long as it needs to be. You know, maybe because I've watched, I found myself watching 2-hour videos on the internet, right? Podcasts, which are way easier. They're like even 3 hours, and just people talking on the internet for like 2.5 hours. So I'm like, you know what? This is too long. You didn't write down your points. I can just remake the video, and then maybe that one will get more eyes on it. So the points are like more like consolidated, right? And this is just like more filler words, more waste of your time. But the information is getting out there, so it's better than nothing. It's like a gym session, right? It's like you think every little bit adds up. That's what I'm trying to say. It's like you're like, oh, there's drunk volume. Like, I also have a different philosophy when it comes to training, and that's why I'll never be. I guess I can't even say that, because you never want to say never. Never is a strong word. I can only say never to certain things, and that these things might seem crazy, like me saying I'm never gonna have alcohol, and even that's not a never. It just needs to be an incredible occasion, like a once in a lifetime occasion. Like if I got married, I may break that promise just to I actually may. If I got married, I may. Like, I've never had alcohol, and I don't plan on having alcohol. Like, I kept saying to myself, like, I'd only drink alcohol when I'm like 101. I'd be happy if I made it to 101. Not 100. 100 is not good enough. I need 101. So 101, and then at my 101st birthday, I can drink. Think about it. Like, that's crazy. And the only other thing I can think about is like love of your life, like a woman who you want to spend your whole life with, and like have a family, and like a woman who's by your side. And there's benefits to romance, which every guy should have, every woman should have. There's benefits. The benefit is that you start having these memories that other people can't replace. You have these deep memories that build this strong bond. Okay, so I've already said a lot, right? I've said a lot. I'm not sure how helpful this is. I'm pretty sure, I don't want to hope for shit, but I'm pretty sure this may have helped in some aspects. Like, something in this video might have helped, but in order for that to be the case, right, if like something at like minute 20 helped you, then you have had to watch like the entire thing. And if anyone's watching, at this point, I'm pretty much just going to be repeating myself. So I really appreciate you watching, the viewer. If this is something that you want to know, like you just want to know, like, oh, it's just some raw guy just talking about raw dating without hair, like, like women can't rub their hands through your hair. Yeah, women like to do that. And like, even in my case, you're like, oh, I don't have like your face, your body, blah, blah, blah. Like, dude, like, play to your strengths. Like, a lot of people can be better than me. That's part of why I'm on YouTube, because like, you don't really see, like, everyone you see, you don't really see yourself, right? Like, there's nothing special about me. I would say, here's the thing though, it's gonna sound like I'm unconfident, but just to help you, like, I'll put myself like out there, even though it's like I don't see a problem, but let's just go over some things, right? Like, I think I have very bad genetics. I'm only honestly, guys, I'm 5'6", right? And I say I'm 5'5". I've been saying I'm 5'5" from the age of like 18. I actually lie about my height. So I didn't lie. I actually thought I was taller, and I would round up an inch just like every other guy. But the difference is that they continue that up until like their mid-20s, unless like you have to actually like call someone out, like, hey, why round up? Like, why not just say, like, if basically, I'm not saying like by half an inch, I'm saying like completely, like rounding up like 1-2 inches. It's like, because it's not that important to them, and that's valid. If it's not that important to you, like your exact height, and you just are unaware, which is kind of crazy that you could be unaware, but I guess it just doesn't matter to some people. So yeah, they can be unaware. No one needs to know exactly how tall they are. They could just give you a number, and if that number is higher than what it actually is, it may have some complications if you're like close in height, right? If you're like blah 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 blah. All right. some of the best dates I went on. Okay, like there was one date that was good from like online dating. That woman was, I believe, maybe like a quarter inch taller than me. We're both 5'6", but I think she's taller than me. And there's another woman who, this was while, both of these women was while I was bald. And this woman was 19 and she was like 5'8" or maybe, yeah, 5'8". So we were close in height, but she was taller and I didn't know she was as young. You know, usually the younger you are, the less mature you are. However, because of her height, and this also plays a factor for men, because of her height, I assumed she was older, and because of her style. So I assumed she was older, and as long as women, you know, they seem mature to me, I think it's okay. So, I'm not running out of things to say, I'm just like, a little tired. I feel like a bitch. So, what the fuck was I saying? I wonder if I'm gonna like edit this video or if I'm not gonna edit this video. Okay. Yeah, I was talking about online dating, right? So, like, what are you trying to say with online dating? It does work, and I already know it works for like that small group of guys. Oh yeah, so like there's things I won't even do. This is just my philosophy, and you might see this as a quitting mindset. If things aren't worth your, like, would you invest in a stock in a company if there was like a negative return on it? Like maybe they'll pay you like a penny. Like you probably wouldn't, right? And that's how I see online dating. For most people, online dating is so superficial and it's gonna just probably hurt your ego, right? Because a lot of the women on online dating, they're gonna be going for a lot of the same type of people, right? It's a very specific, like, guy. And I'm not trying to be negative because, yes, there is gonna be a woman who's gonna want you, specifically you, you know, no hair, like short or Indian, whatever you think. You know, you're black, you're brown, you're white, you're not white, you're Asian. Like, there's a woman that specifically wants you to be on online dating so she could swipe on you. But it's not worth your investment of time or your, like, that's my point. And I think that's what I'm trying to say. It's like, I don't really see much of a point to it, but also I don't see much of a point in dating as someone who's already experienced abundance of dating, all right? Even if it was at the most entry level you can have, as someone who's experienced abundance of dating, I don't think it's worth it. I don't think it's worth your time. I'm just being honest. And you're like, well, okay, look, that's not my situation. I'm 35. I have a home. I have all this money, and then that to spend on dates. Like, I'm ready for dating. That's not my situation. Or maybe you're like 19. You're like, dude, like, I'm just in college. I'm just trying to like get to know more girls like my own age or something, right? Like, that's not my situation. Like, I can focus on dating because I have great grades and blah blah blah. Well, that's why it's my situation, right? I want to better myself. I'm really hoping this video is in focus because I'm using this light to light up my face. It's not the other light because it's too bright, and in the video it's way too bright. So yeah, let's say it is your situation, right? You are ready for dating. For me, it's not the number one priority. It's like when I had all these dates that I was able to go on, right? They were meaningless, and I realized a lot of the connections will be meaningless. Like, I take great pride in knowing that I can be okay alone. I'm not saying that means to stay alone. It just means it's not a priority. And that's kind of how it has to be. I do think that, like, if you have no dating life, you've never had a dating life, then yeah, you need to prioritize it. It's important. It is important. Prioritize it. But then it's like, it's funny because you have two routes you can go once you start prioritizing your dating life, once you start making a change just to increase your dating life, right? Which I've never done. So it's basically like the amount of muscle I have on my frame, which is not a lot, but I've never prioritized muscle. So that just came because I was chasing strength, a very specifically one exercise. And now that I'm focused on 3 exercises, that I want to get stronger because I think there's so many benefits, and it's also like life-changing goals and limiting beliefs about myself. If I right, with my horrible genetics, like, I can also achieve these strength feats that I thought weren't obtainable for me. I thought these are like dreams. So I'm chasing those dreams, right? These physical goals. There's also these other goals. Like, I have financial goals. I have other goals, right? I have goals with my parents. Like, I have goals with like relationships and like networking and all these other goals, right? That's important too. But it's just an example, right? So this route you can go. Like, if you have 0 dating life, or you had a dating life and now you're bald and now you have 0 dating life, like you have no matches, 0 dating life, what should you do? And you're like, the blue pill advice, just focus on yourself, is not good advice. Okay, I just disagree. All right, you don't have to agree with me, just focus on yourself. That's great advice. There's like a saying, I think it's like, you lose money chasing girls but you never lose girls chasing money. And you're like, well, that's also gonna get you gold diggers. Yes, but the saying can be applied to other things if you don't use the word money. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'm just trying to come up with this off the top of my head. Like, you can lose. I want to say you could lose yourself chasing girls, but you can't lose girls chasing yourself. Yeah, yeah. That makes sense to me. Like, there's things that you want. One of them is a dating life, and there's probably other things that you want. For me, just being with girls casually, and they don't help me toward my goals in my life. Unless your goals are to be a dating coach, then mastering the art of dating is probably not going to, like, think about it. Like, you're not trying to master the art of marriage, are you? Just one girl that you could marry. Is that the goal? Because there's plenty of girls that want to genuinely get married. You know what I mean? There are girls that aren't so superficial, that won't care. The world is so massive, and if you think that hair is really a limiting belief, I'm not trying to say what you're going through isn't real. I'm not trying to say that you definitely like aren't getting any matches, Mr. Anonymous, right? Yeah, I believe you. I believe you. But if you also believe that there's no other way for you to meet someone other than online, like that mentality, I get it. People are studying courses for online. Dude, like, I hate being online, right? Like, I understand you need to be online to a degree, but also, like, I have pet peeves, man. Like, one of them is just like, if a date is on her phone for too much, like, if I'm trying to say something, I don't like that. And right now, I don't want to date, not because I don't have that urge, just because I know that me going on a date, there's a low chance of romance. That's not a high probability thing to happen. Yeah, you'll smile, you'll flirt, you'll kiss, you'll get some, but that's not what romance is. So it's just gonna be something more meaningless that, you're just a number, she's just a number, right? And like, are you any closer to the goals that mean more in your life? And you can also argue, why do these goals even have so much meaning to you? Like, let's say for me, like, I want to get to 15 muscle ups. I don't have a problem saying my physical goals, right? Like, why does that mean so much? Like, what the fuck? Like, why do you have so much meaning into something like that, right? And that I can't explain. But all I know is that dating isn't going to help me technically get closer to that, all right? A romantic relationship could help me. That could help me, because you have time to explain to someone why you have these goals for yourself. And it's a lot healthier too, because you're pushing the human body. It's way healthier than playing a video game where you're pushing the character's level ability, right? Like, I used to play Skyrim. I'm gonna make a video on video games as well. Video games kill your time. That's another topic. Take it from someone who loves one game in particular, and they're gonna make a next one, you know, the Elder Scrolls 6. Things need to be earned. Like, dates need to be earned too. That's my mentality. It's like, I've gone on dates, right? And I've experienced full-time job, you know, living on my own. I can continue doing this, signing contracts with the military to have this life, this life, right? If I had like a graph, like, I'm right here. I can get dates, I can pay rent, I can buy my food, I can do everything I need to do. I'm like right here. This is the bottom, by the way, all the way here, right? So let's say the camera, so this is halfway. I'm like right here. All right, I can get dates consistently. I have an income, blah, 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 right? But I'm like a lot of people. And what about over here? Now, staying a certain path, like if you stay, like, for example, in the military, you're right, you may not make the most amount of money that you can make, but you may grow, mentally you may grow a shit ton staying in the military, right? So the one like the money chart might not go up, but the mentality chart might go up. But let's say, just talking financial, right? Like, and you're like, why do you want like a gold digger? And that's not what I want. I'm just saying, I've experienced dating this level right here, right in the middle. I've experienced dating right there. And so I want to work on myself. So I want to work on myself because it's important to me. I don't think dating is a priority. Another thing is like, yeah, I want to work on myself. It's not so I make more money. It's so I have more. I've grown as a person, and I'm just a better person. And anyone that meets me, I'm just better off, right? In order to do that, yes, you can do it with people, but also like, don't be afraid of doing it alone as well. There's nothing wrong with that. It's actually easier for guys, all right? Girls are way more social. I think they need to be more social. It's harder for them to just be like, nah, fuck you, I'm gonna be alone. Even to like their guy best friends is a lot. I think it's harder. I'm not a girl, so I can only assume. You make an ass out of you and me when you assume. So I can only assume it's harder for girls than it is for guys to be alone, right? But yeah, we suffer. We also suffer, right? Like, if you're alone, you don't have a dating life. Like, I don't have a dating life right now, and I'm okay with that because I have work to do, you know? Like, I also have these things that most people wouldn't say. Like, I grew up playing Skyrim. It's a video game, and I love that game. And for so long, right, I didn't know how long it was going to take. It's probably going to come out in like 2028. The second one, the first one came out in 2011. It was my first video game on the Xbox. My first Xbox game was Skyrim. Probably played 5,000 hours of that game. Kid you not. So they were gonna make a next one, obviously. I'm like, oh, okay, there's a bunch of them. There's the Oblivion, there's Morrowind, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. They're gonna make a sixth one. The sixth one never came, but I thought like, damn, I hope the sixth one comes out in summer because I'm not gonna have a life. This is the one game I wanted to play. And then I realized something, like, I don't deserve to play the Elder Scrolls 6 or Skyrim 6, right? Let's just say that if you don't know what the Elder Scrolls is, we're going to just say Skyrim 6. I don't deserve to play that video game that will come out. Now we know it's going to come out like 2026, 2027, 2028. It's coming out, over 20 years after the first one came out. Like, it's something stupid like that. I mean, over 20 years after the fifth one came out, the sixth one's going to come out. Like, I don't deserve to play that game unless I have $1 million in my savings account. Isn't that crazy? You're like, why? Because like, you only get one life. Like, do I want to live this life? Like, I have that option, right? Like which one do I want more? Like the Elder Scrolls 6, the experience of playing that game and wasting all this time, or the experience of having $1 million in my savings and now I can potentially do something for my parents, or I can redo something that is a deeper meaning to me than a fantasy world. The fantasy world is going to be beautiful, amazing music. It's going to be very beautiful entertainment, but entertainment is just entertainment. It's not improvement, and I'm all about bettering yourself as a person. That's why I like to come on here and talk, and I can talk. That's something I can do. I can talk to the camera, I think, for like 5 hours. Damn, this is an hour long. That's fucking crazy. I can do it. I know I can do that. Right, and I'm still talking about the same topic, I think. Right? Just so you have to earn things, and the same is the case with dating. With alcohol, I'm not saying I'll never drink it, but it's harmful, it doesn't add value to my life, and how people judge value. People are gonna hate me, that's totally fun. Like, it's okay if people hate me. Dude, like, people can have their opinions, like, I get it, I'm gonna rub people the wrong way. But I just wanna earn things. I don't wanna just, like, alcohol. I'm opposed to drinking it, but I'm not opposed to drinking it forever. Like I said, if I were to get married, if I were to turn 101, this really crazy thing, you're like, okay, so just say, if you don't want to drink it, just say you're not going to drink it. I'm being dead serious. If I were to get married, I would actually post about it. You know, it's a celebration, and it's such a big celebration that I actually would want to drink. Like, what's one time in my life isn't actually that harmful. Especially when it's something like alcohol. The danger of alcohol is like that the regular consumption of it. It's not the one time, right? I also don't want to spend time with people who are drunk. I mean, come on, like, who does? And the same thing with, like, playing the Elder Scrolls 6, a game that was a childhood game for me, that means so much. I want to play that game, but I know when it comes out, I'm not going to play that game unless I have $1 million in my savings account. I don't deserve to play that game. If I don't got $1 million in savings, I have work to do. I have work to do to learn about business, to help more people. I have more work to do if I don't have like $1 million in my. If I have $1 million in my savings, well, then I guess I have the time to, like, take a break and, like, play that game, because I've, like, yeah, right. I mean, so dating, it's like, you have to earn dating, and to earn dating, you have to be a really good version of yourself. So, like, even in my experience, why did those dates go so well? It's cause I spent a lot of time alone and working on myself. That's my opinion. You know, the experiences I'm able to give, my experiences are unique to me, and that all has to do with the self-work and working and the just focus on yourself, bro. Like, that's not really that bad, you know. It's like, you want to think you can just, like, you start dating at 18, and then let's say you're 28, so for 10 years you've dated throughout every second, every day of those 10 years, right? You dated when you were 18 in 1 month, 18 in 2 months. You just continue dating and putting yourself out there in the market for 10 straight years, and you're gonna be a great dating master by the time you're 28. However, other areas of your life may struggle to improve if you don't have that isolation period, you know, doing hard work alone. I'm just being real, right? Sometimes, you know, and that also, like, if you want to have romance, you know, telling someone, hey, like, I love you, but I just want a little bit of time. Like, you may say, oh, if you really love them, you would never try to separate yourself from them. There's many different types of separation, right? Like, if you tell that to someone, and their first reaction, imagine this: if you tell someone, like, hey, like, I want to better myself for me and for you because I really care about you, and in order for me to do that, I feel like I just need to kind of, like, go get off social media, get off talking to people, just be alone for a little bit, have time to think. If you tell someone that and their first reaction is, like, I'm gonna miss you, but I fully support you, and I want you to be the best version you can be. Now you're like, oh shit, now I gotta marry this person. You see what I'm saying? Like, that helped you. You saying that helped you develop a more romantic connection to that person, because you are doing things. You're testing that person, but not intentionally. You're not, like, intentionally testing them. It's just a natural test. So, like, what I'm trying to tell you is these things, when you do this, like, you'd be surprised. Like, I've done this a couple times where I've told my dates, hey, like, you know what? This is the last date I'm going on for this and this reason. And I have periods where I'm like, you know, one of them was to join the military. Right before I went into the military, I was with this girl who we had a friends with benefits thing, all right, and it was really good. It was good on my end. It was good on her end. We were both really happy. But I told her, I'm like, I'm gonna go work on myself. And I didn't tell her the military because I didn't know I was gonna join the military. All I knew was that I can't date right now, and that was in October. And then in November, I went to the military. All I knew was, see, you're like, oh, you're full of shit. Like, do you really work on yourself? Like, yeah, I came back 1 year later because that's how long my training took. Came back 1 year later, and then I saw her again, right? I saw her again. I returned her call, yeah. So the way it worked was like, why would you text the same person after a year? She kept calling me. So I returned her call. I didn't pick up at all while I was there because I'm like, what's the point? But then she kept calling me and leaving me voicemails. So yeah, you'll be surprised what happens when you tell someone that you want to better yourself and you're actually bettering yourself. If I was just like ignoring her calls for an entire year, it wouldn't have been as authentic. I'm not saying like, dude, this is like a friends with benefits. This isn't what I want. I mean, it's just a story just to help you understand a little bit. So I returned her call, and I just, naturally she found out like what I did with my life. Like I decided to go through this path for development and growth. Okay, and now I'm a better me, and that helped my dating life, right? And I give the benefit of the doubt to most people online. Even like most of these people, I feel like if you're watching me, you probably have something going for yourself, right? Like you have goals and aspirations. Even if you don't have anything on a resume, you have at least some goals and aspirations for your life, and you think highly of yourself, and you have self-respect. All these things are important, you know what I mean? And I'll notice how like all those things are all things I could talk about with dating, right? But none of them had anything to do with my hair. Like in order to better yourself, that has nothing to do with your hair. In order to, go alone and just work on yourself, bro, like that's nothing to do with your hair. Like all these things that you can do. So that's my experience, and like I'm sure as I continue to age and everything, attraction is also developed through people differently. I've had a girl who said I wasn't physically attractive fall for me pretty hard. But of course it bothered me too much that she said that. And I'm being honest, you're like, it's only one. I guess if I dated even more, I have more girls tell me that they don't find me physically attractive. But I have had more women say that they're attractive with me, and maybe that's because I met them in person. So I think maybe in person you're kind of cutting through the line a little bit. So that's the whole video. All right, this video is over an hour long, so I'm happy. I'm proud of this. I think I gave good advice. It's just in there. You have to like dig deep for the information. This video is going to be titled "Dating While Losing Your Hair." My experience replying to a comment. That's the title of the video. Hopefully this helped. To my anonymous viewer, I hope this helped. It didn't answer your questions, right? Like, I have less matches now, so like, how do I fix having less matches? You know what I mean? Like, I have less matches now. Like, things are gonna change. Like, if you're not okay with change, then fix it, fix it in your way of fixing it. But like, that's why I'm gonna make the balding, how balding bettered my life video, because it talks about how I improved from it. You don't need to go bald to watch this video, actually, even though it's what it's titled, and everyone probably will be going through that. There's gonna be benefits in that video that have nothing to do with balding, but that's how I learned the lesson, right? It's like, you don't have to get your heart broken to learn that you could keep moving forward and that things are gonna be okay. You can learn that lesson a lot of ways, right? Like, you can learn that lesson with an injury. It can seem like things are over and that you can't move forward, and then you learn that you can come back stronger. You can come back stronger from a relationship. You can come back stronger from an injury. You can come back stronger from losing your fucking hair. Right? If you don't believe that, then all these people who are bald and doing good in life, right? What do they have that you don't? I already told you who I am, and maybe you're like, dude, you have like a crazy amount of confidence that I don't have. that wasn't developed in one day. Like, I had to realize, like, if I want to fight my insecurities, or I want to accept all my insecurities and stop caring about what the world thinks about me and just do my thing, because I think I just stand out, like, regardless, and I'm okay with that. That's the video, man. Like, I hope you enjoyed this video. It comes from a place of just genuine advice, and also, like, this was great. Even though I feel like I didn't know what to say, I didn't have time to, like, I did feel like making this earlier in the day. Now it's only 5:30, 5:29. So I like waking up early, even though I have bags under my eyes, which the camera probably doesn't pick up because the camera makes me look different than what I really look like in person. That's my opinion. But it's just a camera I bought that a lot of YouTubers use, so it's like, it can't be me, right? It's like, it's all YouTubers then, right? Anyways, I don't like deception, but I feel like this camera is it has a lot of deception. I don't feel like in the camera I look like what I look like in person, but maybe I'm fucking wrong. So hopefully this helped, and my classic outro. If you liked the video, leave a like, leave comments, because I do read the comments. I may not reply to the comments, but I read the comments. I read all the comments. I only have 400, and I don't want to be specific anymore. It's too specific, right? Let's just call it 400 subscribers. I only have 400 subscribers. And so I do read all the comments. I only get like a comment once a week, something like that. Right, I think. Well, I'm not making videos that frequently, which needs to change. If I want to make a video every day, like, if you want to do something, right, don't worry about what people are going to think about you. It's like, I know that the quality can't be as good, but I need to get into the habit sometimes, right? So if I want to make a video every day, then I need to do that. I'm not saying I need to do it for a year, but if I want to do it for like a month, I need to do that. I did write down a lot of shit here. Like, I wrote down my goals for the month. Okay, I don't want to show it to you. I'll make a video about it, and I have to hit these goals, and these goals are fucking... keeps me amped up. But benefits of making a video at this time, waking up at 2:40 was not intentional. I set my alarm for 3:30, woke up without an alarm, went to bed at 8:30. So I actually slept quite a bit. Like, I slept more than average. Like, I'm really I'm really happy. So now it's only 5:30 in the morning. I got a whole day ahead of me. I can think better, I think. I can think and focus so much better making videos in the morning, which sucks for me because I guess I'm going to be a morning person now. I didn't shower. Like, I just woke up, guys, alright? I put up my bed and I just woke up and made this video. So yeah, that's the whole video. If you liked the video, tell me you liked it. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.